Alright, so the first thing that you always have to do when you're making graffiti lettering is you have to sketch it out. And just sketch it out in capital letters. And then go around those letter lines. And I like to sort of think of like a theme or a shape that I want to incorporate. So for my first one, I'm just doing triangles. I just wanted to make it very triangular. So I'm trying to figure out how to turn each one of my letters into a triangle. Once you've done that, you're going to go around it with just a black marker is fine, and trace around with the black marker. After you've just traced it out, that way you can see what it's going to look like a little bit better, and you can erase your pencil lines, and this is an outline. You might also want to go for a theme, so I'm going to go for like an arrow theme for this one, and then a bubble letters for the other one. Here I'm putting the letters a little bit further apart so I can play with the shapes. But when you do your final, you want to make sure that the letters are overlapping each other. Alright, so we're going to use color diffusing paper to draw our final design on. It is a little bit fragile, so just be careful when you erase. Otherwise, you're just going to draw your name nice and big on this special paper. This works best with the color diffusing paper. I've done this project other years without it, but then I discovered this paper and it's fantastic. I can't wait for you guys to see what this ends up looking like. Alright, once you have it all sketched out, then you're going to get out your regular washable markers, or even just the regular Crayola markers, and you're going to outline it in the color you want. I want all warm colors, but maybe your design, you want cool colors or some other kind of color theme. Be careful about color mixing, okay? So don't put any opposite colors together, because these colors will mix together. So you want to be super careful about that. I'm outlining everything in red, and then I'm going to do orange and yellow on the other side of this red line for that color mixing, assuming that those colors are going to mix together. So I did a thin red line, and then I'm going to do a thick orange line right around it. Because the more material you put down, the more color there is going to be. It's going to spread out more. You can probably already kind of see this is spreading out just a little bit. Just nicely outlining it. It does not have to be perfect, because as soon as we get the water on here, it is going to be very different. Alright, finishing that up, and then I'm going to use yellow, and I'm not going to color it in. By no means should you color it in. Just use lines, just like you would if you had a can of spray paint. I'm just going to use these lines, and then it's going to spray out. It's going to spread out. So I'm not coloring in, I'm just using this line of color. Alright, this is when it gets fun. You're going to get a clean cup of water and a brush. And a clean brush. You want to make sure everything is nice and clean, okay? And then you're just going to paint one line of water inside the letters and a line of water on the edge of the letters. And it's already starting to spread out there. And it's really cool how much this ink will diffuse and spread out. The more water you put down, the faster the ink will spread out. Possibly the faster it will diffuse, and so the colors might get a little bit weaker if you put too much water on it. You don't want to just dump the water on there. You want to put just one nice line of water there, just like I am right on the ink, so that that ink spreads out. Alright, so check that out. Once you get this done, you're going to put it in the drying rack, put it on a tray, and put it in the drying rack just like we always do. And then you can start making your background. Okay. This is where we get to use some more fun materials. What I've done is I've cut out a stencil of a brick wall for you, and we are going to use the Crayola Airbrush This is the manual airbrush. What's neat about this is that, again, it will use Crayola markers. So whatever, you're just going to get a red, shove it in there really tight, and then click that shut. That's really important. Then you're going to open it up and you're going to pump it. And pump it usually about 20 to 25 times. After you've pumped it that many times and you can't really push it down anymore and it gets a little hard, then you're going to twist it lock. So that it's a little twisty lock then, so it's locked into place like that, and it shows you there, right there. And then you're going to spray, this is called an airbrush, and you spray the marker ink over the stencil, just like that. You want to be very careful not to move the stencil at all. Now you're going to need to pump the canister several times. I'm fast forwarding so that you don't have to sit there and watch me pump the canister all those times, but as you can see, I have to pump it about 3 or 4 times to get this whole page sprayed. So I'm just going to do that, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's all done. Once you are done spraying, lift the stencil up, revealing a beautiful textured wall. Then take your now dry painting, cut out the letters, but leave a little bit of a border so that spray look is still there. Get out a soft coloring mat. We use little pieces of felt. Other rooms sometimes use newspapers or things like that. Trace the letters in whatever color makes sense for your theme, and then add symbols inside the letters that continue your theme. Because remember, graffiti art has a lot going on inside those letters, so your letters should also have extra symbols going on inside of them. Make sure you add that. And we're going to do that with crayons, as I show you here. The symbols that I'm using are arrows. Kind of symbolizes creativity, going in different directions, thoughts and ideas coming from anywhere, and the busyness of life. So these arrows are symbolic to me. Whatever symbols you use should be symbolic to you. Alright, and the very last step is to put this all together. We're going to use glue stick because liquid glue would actually diffuse our colors in ways we don't want. So really stick on that glue stick. Use lots and lots of glue stick because this paper does want to curl on you. So you might need to go back through on the edges and glue it down really well so it doesn't peel off of our background. And there's our graffiti art. I know yours is going to look really fantastic too.